Welcome back. All right, so it is January the 10th, which means it's exactly 3 months into the National Hockey League season. And what a season we've seen. And so I wanted to look at where the standings are now, 3 months in. So we're roughly halfway through, as the records would show. Which means that tomorrow it's report card time. I'll do a report card on each team and just grade each team, that kind of thing. So we'll start off with the West. We'll start off with the Winnipeg Jets, who are leading 40 games, 27, 9, and 4 record, 58 points, 725 points percentage. The Jets have been fantastic, and if you look at the record since December the 10th, in 15 games, 12, 1, and 2. So 15 games, I think that's tied for the most that any team has played, and their record's been fantastic. In fact, are they the one that's played the most? They are. They and Chicago, the only ones on the board that I see here that have played 15 games. So very busy schedule, not a problem for Winnipeg. They've scored 56 goals, they've allowed 26, and their points percentage 867, the best over the last month of hockey games. Colorado's second, 41 games, 26, 12, and 3 record for 55 points, so the 3 points out of first place. Winnipeg with that game in hand. 671 points percentage for Colorado, but they've had a very good month. 14 games, 10, 3, and 1 since December the 10th. 750 points percentage. They've scored 57 goals. They've allowed 48. So they'd want to bring their goals against down, sure, but the record's been quite good. Dallas, 39 games, 23, 11, and 5 record, 51 points, 654 points percentage. 13 games since December the 10th, an 8, 3, and 2 record, 692 points percentage. They've scored 53 and allowed 39. And considering they've been without Ottinger for a large portion of that run, that record is very, very impressive by the Dallas Stars. So they might be a team to watch in the second half of the season. But it feels like those are going to be your top three in the Central, and they're just going to switch around who's where in the standings for the rest of the way. Vancouver leads the Pacific, and in 41 games, they have a record of 27, 11, and 3, 57 points. The 27 wins through the first half of the season ties a team record. 695 points percentage, and since December the 10th, in 13 games, they are 9, 2, and 2, 769 points percentage, 53 goals scored, 33 goals allowed. So yeah, plus 20 goals in the positive for him. I really can't say enough things about the Vancouver Canucks in the positive right now. Going through New Jersey, Rangers, Islanders, and winning all three is very impressive, especially Rangers and Islanders on back-to-back nights. Vegas, they've taken a bit of a downturn. 40 games, 43. 23, 12, and 5 record for them. 51 points. So we'll just forget I put 43 up there. Ninja Dust. 638 points percentage for them so far this year. 12 games since December the 10th. They've won 5 of them. They're 5, 7, and 1. 417 points percentage. They've scored 37 goals. They've allowed 47. For the LA Kings, 37 games played, 20, 10, and 7, 47 points. They're now 10 points out of first place. 635 points percentage. So their points percentage is now lower than both Vegas and Vancouver. They do still have games in hand, but that means they've got to kind of win them all. 13 games played since December the 10th. They're 4, 6, and 3 over that time. 423 points percentage, scoring 32 goals and allowing 36. So it started going in the wrong direction for LA as well. This is why those points early in the season are so darn important. So those are your top 3 in the Pacific and your top 3 in the Central. The top 3 in the Pacific, probably a little bit shakier than the top 3 in the Central. Number 1 wild card's Nashville. 41 games, 22, 18, and 1 record, 45 points, 549 points percentage overall. Since December 10th, in 14 games, they have an 8, 5, and 1 record, a 607 points percentage, so that's solid. That'd keep them above the playoff line if they can keep performing like that. 43 goals scored, 45 goals against. They do have some bewildering losses here and there, like the 13 seconds against Dallas at the end of the game and last night against Anaheim, but overall, their numbers not bad. Edmonton, 37 games, 21, 15, and 1. 43 points, 581 points percentage. In 13 games since December the 1st, they are 10 and 3. 769 points percentage, which is tied with Vancouver for best in the Pacific. 48 goals scored, 31 goals against. So Edmonton has a real shot here. They're only 4 points back of LA. LA seems to be trending in the wrong direction. It just feels like the Oilers should be able to overcome them, and maybe Vegas as well if Vegas can't turn things around. Then you get below the playoff line, although it's just very, very close. The Seattle Kraken, 40 games, 17, 14, and 9 record, 43 points, 538 points percentage. And this is where things might get a little dicey for Nashville, because in their 12 games since December the 10th, they've been 9-1-2 for an 833 points percentage, scoring 37 goals and allowing a paltry 18 goals over those 12 games. 1.5 goals against per game. So that's the one team that might threaten Nashville's position because they're only 2 points back. They have the one game in hand. We shall see. But from month to month, things can change dramatically. And then you've got Arizona, 39 games, 20, 17, and 2 record, 42 points. So they're 1 point out of a playoff spot, 538 points percentage. They're consistent in the 13 games since December the 10th. They're 7-6, 538 points percentage there. They've scored 32. They've allowed 40. St. Louis, 39 games, 20, 18, and 1 record, 41 points, which is a 526 points percentage. But since December the 1st, they're 7-5, 583 points percentage. Their goals scored and allowed, 33 goals for, 37 goals against. But still, there's hope if you're St. Louis because you're only 2 points out of the playoffs right now. As is Calgary, although they've played 41 games, so they've got 4 more games played than the Oilers do. 18, 5, 41 points. They have a 500 record. This is where I can note to all you fine people on the internet, there are only 7 teams in the NHL with a losing record. This is by design. The NHL likes to have it where there aren't teams with losing records. And so if you are a fan of a team and you look at, you go, well, they got 41 points in 41 games. They're in the hunt. Whereas if they were 18-23, it would be, well, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to make it, right? So it does give that sense of, the making the team's records look a little better than they are. Over their record since December the 10th, 14 games, 7-5-2 record, 571 points percentage. So at least that's trending in the right direction. They've scored 49 goals. They've allowed 40. The problem being that they've lost ground on Seattle. They've lost ground on the Oilers in that time. And those are 2 of the teams they're chasing. They need to pass at least one of them to make the playoffs in all likelihood. In Minnesota's case, 39 games, 17, 18, and 4 record, 38 points, 487 points percentage. 14 games played since December the 10th. 8-6 record, but it feels like they're trending in the other direction now. 571 points percentage, 36 goals scored, 39 goals against. They need some players back. They got a lot of injuries going on in Minnesota. Then you got Anaheim. 40 games, 14, 25, and 1 record, 29 points, 363 points percentage. Since December 10th, 14 games, 4, 9, and 1 record, 321 points percentage. So that's including the win last night over Nashville. 33 goals scored, 45 goals against. Chicago, half the season done for them. 41 games, 12, 27, and 2 record, 26 points. 317 points percentage for them, so that's second worst in the league. 15 games played since December the 10th. 3, 11, and 1 record, 233 points percentage. Numbers aren't great. They've been 1-1 since Bedard went down, though. 32 goals scored, 63 goals against. So 63 goals against in 15 games equals you're not even thinking about playoffs. And then you get to San Jose. Their season's half done too. 9, 29, and 3 record. 21 points, so they're on pace for 42 points. 258 points percentage, but over the last month, it's been a bloodbath. 14 games. May feel like 41 to Sharks fans. 1-12 and 1 record for a 107 points percentage. 107. Scoring 23 goals over those 14 games and allowing 59. So all the numbers for San Jose right now, not exactly pretty. So that rounds out the West. San Jose now being 22 points out of the playoffs. That's the furthest anybody is out of the playoffs right now. But Chicago not far behind. It looks like San Jose and Chicago likely 1 and 2 when it comes to draft lottery odds when we get to May. So we get over to the East. Boston still leading the Atlantic in 40 games, a record of 24, 8, and 8, 56 points, 700 points percentage. But 14 games played since December 10th, I should say. 6-3-5 record, 607 points percentage. Points percentage is good, but they only have the 6 wins in 14 games, so they're relying on extra points there as well. 48 goals scored, 43 goals allowed. Boston's been playing all right, but again, in terms of them being an elite team, it does feel like another month, and they'll probably be at the very least second in the division because Florida's charging. 40 games, 26, 12, and 2 record, 54 points, 675 points percentage. So they're only 2 points back of Boston, same number of games played. 14 games played since December the 10th, a record of 10 and 4. They've won 8 in a row. 714 points percentage, 48 goals scored, 33 goals allowed. Florida's had a good run. Toronto, 38 games, 21, 10, and 7 is their overall record, 49 points, 645 points percentage, and all those games against California raised their numbers. 7, 4, and 3 since December the 10th, 607 points percentage. They're scoring 56 goals and allowing 44, with many thanks to California. And now their schedule does get a little tougher. We'll see where Toronto's really and truly at. But they are third in the division and currently sit 4 points ahead of fourth in the division, who have played 4 more games than Toronto has. Then you get to the New York Rangers, who are leading the Metro Division, 39 games, 26, 11, and 2 record, 54 points, 692 points percentage, so that's second best in the East. 14 games since December the 10th, 8, 5, and 1 record, 607 points percentage, 50 goals scored, 41 goals allowed for the New York Rangers. Carolina has really turned it around. 40 games, 22, 13, and 5 record, 49 points, 613 points percentage. And they don't have to go west anymore. There's no more West Coast games, and it shows on the record 8, 1, and 4 over 13 games since December the 10th, 769 points percentage. So they are charging 49 goals scored, 29 goals allowed for Carolina. For Philadelphia, they are 20, 14, and 6 over 40 games. 46 points, 575 points percentage. They are tied with the Islanders for third. They are technically third. The Islanders the wild card. Over the last 13 games, and that is since December the 10th, they are 5, 4, and 4. 538 points percentage, but the fact they've only won 5 of their last 13 is troubling. 33 goals scored, 38 goals allowed, and Tortorella is not having any questions about Jamie Drysdale today. Don't even try to ask him until maybe after the game he'll be willing to talk about it. Then we get to the Islanders, 40 games played, 18, 12, and 10 record, 46 points as well, 575 points percentage. And over the 14 games since December the 10th, they're 6, 5, and 3, 536 points percentage, 44 goals scored, 50 goals allowed. That is way too high. Sorokin's numbers just haven't been very Sorokin-like over the last couple of months. And so we'll see if that starts to turn around for him. But it is something to keep an eye on if you're an Islanders fan. And then we get to Tampa. Tampa Bay is the second wild card, but keep in mind that from a points percentage, they are below the next 4 teams here. So 42 games, 20, 17, and 5 record, 45 points, 536 points percentage. Since December the 10th, they're 7 and 6, 538 points percentage, scoring 41 goals and allowing 43. So Tampa Bay still going through some things and trying to right the ship in the second half of the season. They absolutely can, but it's going to be dicey because New Jersey, who are technically below the line, only 1 point back and 4 games in hand on Tampa. 21, 15, and 2 record for 44 points. 579 points percentage and consistent. 7, 5, and 1 since December the 10th, which is a 577 points percentage. They've scored 44 goals and allowed 45. So they want to bring their goals against down, but this is something we know, New Jersey being in the hunt for a goaltender. For Washington, 38 games, 19, 13, and 6 record, also 44 points, also a 579 points percentage. And in the 14 games since December the 10th, they're 6, 5, and 3, 536 points percentage, scoring 33 goals and allowing 44. It does feel like it's trended in the wrong direction for Washington. They do have 6 wins in 14 games, but they still have an over 500 points percentage in that time. Pittsburgh, 39 games, 20, 15, and 4 record, 44 points, 564 points percentage, but they've been charging over the last month. Since December the 10th, they're 9, 3, and 1 for a 731 points percentage, scoring 44 goals and allowing 37. So Pittsburgh's a team to watch in the second half of the season, as well as Detroit. 40 games played, 20, 16, and 4 record, 44 points, 550 points percentage. Since December the 10th, they've had 6 wins and 8 losses for a 429 points percentage, showing what a difference it can make if you're getting points in extra time rather than not and losing in regulation. 45 goals scored, 54 goals against for Detroit. Montreal, they like being 500. They're 17, 17, and 5, 39 points. That's 500. And they've been 500 since December the 10th, a record of 5, 5, and 2, scoring 35 goals and allowing 41. So Montreal, definitely a 500 team, apparently through and through. They're now sitting 6 points back of a playoff spot. Buffalo, 41 games, 17, 20, and 4 record, 38 points in the standings, 463 points percentage. They've been 500 over the last month, though. Since December the 10th, 13 games, 6-6-1 record for that 500 mark. 43 goals scored, 45 goals against for Buffalo. For Columbus, 42 games, 13, 20, and 9 record, 35 points, 417 is their points percentage since December the 10th. 4-5-4 record for a 462 points percentage. 40 goals scored, 54 goals against. So again, Columbus staying in games, getting points here and there. Definitely a team that's tracking to be better than half a dozen teams in the NHL, but not very much likely to move up in the standings. Scoring 40 goals and allowing 54. And then there's Ottawa, who are still residing at the bottom. 36 games, 14 and 22 record now for them. 28 points, 389 points percentage. It's just been a disaster in Ottawa. And since December 10th, 3-11 has been the record. So no bump for the coach. And that's not on Jacques Martin. And maybe it wasn't DJ Smith after all. Just throwing that out there. 214 is their points percentage over the last month. 41 goals scored, 61 goals against, which is second only to Chicago for the most goals allowed since December the 10th. So with trends being as they are, I would say the most dangerous teams in the West that are under the playoff line, I would say Seattle definitely because of the fact they're 833. I still think Calgary can go on a run. Their goaltending's been better than I think the stats tell you. And then I think if Minnesota can turn this around, we'll see. But they definitely have, I think they have a better team than their record shows. I'm not sure exactly where the problem lies with Minnesota, but I think it's a combination of things. And then in the East, the teams below the playoff line, obviously New Jersey is my Stanley Cup pick. Kind of hoping they make the playoffs. Otherwise, there's not a great chance they win the Stanley Cup. Unless they go the challenge route, which I support, because that'd be like a century-old thing to try, challenging the Stanley Cup champions after they've won it. You could try that. Washington and Pittsburgh, just they have the star players. They have the veterans. They can make the playoffs. Detroit obviously has a hunger to make the playoffs as well. It should be a lot of fun in the East. It's easier to come up with teams below the playoff line in the East. I think all four of them you can make an argument for. In the West, it gets a little more difficult. And, of course, Arizona, can they make the playoffs? I don't know if they have the horses yet to make the playoffs either, but we shall see. So let me know your thoughts. The biggest surprise, for me, the biggest positive surprises, out West, it has to be Winnipeg. It has to be Vancouver. In the East, the fact Boston's still leading the division has to be considered somewhat of a surprise. And the huge turnaround for Carolina. They just didn't do well on the West Coast swings. And here they are. They're right back. So, at any rate, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.